Fatalities in this impact, and it's likely that this was shrapnel coming down from an interception or potentially a munition from one of those cluster missiles which we've seen Iran firing repeatedly at Israel over the last few days.
Burridge says there are reports of multiple injuries from the debris. Meantime, here in the U.S., President Trump continues to praise the mission in Iran at an Army-Navy event at the White House today.
We are doing really well. We're not going to let them have nuclear weapons. Because if they had them, they'd use them, and we're not going to let that happen. Should have been done a long time ago by other presidents.
Pentagon has requested an additional $200 billion to put towards the war. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 451 points, another full percent, sitting at 45,570. S&P down by 95. The NASDAQ, it's down by nearly 2%, down 433 points. Traffic and weather is brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Ricky?
Delays are clearing out southbound I-215's west belt from I-80 down to California Avenue, where we had debris in the road. A little bit of trouble in traffic southbound I-15 prior to 90th South. The vehicles are now out of traffic on the right shoulder, but still a little bit of busy and sometimes slower backup to the south interchange. With nutrients blended for greener, healthier turf in our local soil, IFA's 4+ Lawn Care program is the ultimate lawn owner power move. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Highs today and tomorrow near 82 degrees. On Sunday, the temperature dropping a good 10 degrees, down near 70 degrees for Sunday, and a slight chance of showers. Remember that slight chance of showers I was talking about yesterday? It has disappeared from the 7-day forecast. 73 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. The KSL Bracket Update every 15 minutes brought to you by the Stern Team Omada. Here's Jason Jones. Jason?
Well, I knew it couldn't last. I started off 12-4 yesterday, and I'm now 0-2 today. Go figure. Yeah, I had Kentucky and Texas Tech both being upset, and neither one of them were. Both winners earlier today. At least I'm going to get the Arizona win, so that's good. They're up 30 points right now over Long Island, about halfway through the second half there. Just coming out of the half, Virginia scores a bucket. They're down 43-41 to Wright State currently. Don't forget, coming up about 2:10 this afternoon, Utah State will be tipping off against Villanova. With your KSL Bracket Update, I'm Jason Jones.
Follow the NCAA tournament updates and all of their sports updates at kslsports.com.
We want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Buying a home or refinancing can be complicated. So who do you call? Who's trustworthy, has decades of experience, and can get you a loan done quickly? Who will work hard for you to find the great rate and reasonable closing costs? The answer's clear. Loans by Rick. Right now, Loans by Rick is giving a 30-year fixed rate at 5.5% and a 15-year fixed at just 4.625%.
He can't do that.
Oh, yes, he can. For over 25 years, Rick has helped people navigate the mortgage process and get the financing they need to buy a home or refinance. That even includes paying off debt with a cash-out refi. And because Loans by Rick works with over 80 bank and lending relationships, we shop multiple lenders to find you the very best deal. Whether you're buying a home or refinancing, call Loans by Rick at 801-809-SAVE. That's 801-809-SAVE, or visit loansbyrick.com.
Rick Urgemont, NMLS 241179, Vintage Lending, NMLS 287106, Equal Housing Lender, 30-year APR 5.78%, 15-year APR 4.78%, some restrictions apply.
Don't miss the excitement of the crowd, the perfect ping of 300-yard drives, the sound of sinking a 15-foot putt, shifting the leaderboard. Challenge is an understatement. Beautiful, bold, athletic. LPGA's next-gen stars vying for glory on a course that's as stunning as it is challenging. The Copper Rock Championships Epson Tour, May 14th through 16th. Come for the game. Stay for the journey. Copper Rock, born to be played.
Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A dome of high pressure continues to sit over the western United States today, and even though there might be a bit of cool down this weekend, the warm weather is expected to continue well into next week. We passed 80 degrees in Salt Lake City yesterday, making it the earliest we have ever hit the 80-degree mark. June weather in March, it can be beautiful, but also a cause for some intense problems. Historic heat wave, we have special coverage on Midday. We begin with KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson, who has a look at the records we broke yesterday and the records we could break again today.
Our historic record-breaking heat wave continues. Yesterday's highs topped out at 90 degrees in Kanab. That broke a record, not only a daily record, but an all-time March high. Provo on BYU campus, 85. Also an all-time record high for them for the month of March. Cedar City, all-time high, 84. Logan, 78 degrees, breaking a record there. Salt Lake City hit 81. That also broke the old all-time record high of 80 degrees back on March 31st of 2012. St. George hit 93 degrees, breaking their all-time March high. That was 91 back in 2004. Folks, we will push the thermometer a little further today. Look for temperatures that will actually run a solid 1 to 3 degrees warmer than yesterday's all-time highs. We'll be breaking more records.
Right now in downtown Salt Lake City, 73 degrees. The warmer than normal temperatures will change how we manage our lawns and our gardens this spring. Ton Bettis, USU horticulturist and co-host of the KSL Greenhouse Show, joins me to talk about some of the do's and don'ts this season, and he says timing is everything. He says right now you should prioritize pruning things like fruit trees and rose bushes and putting down weed pre-emergent on your lawn. But what should you not do?
Well, right now, planting-wise, you can do your cool season crops without any fear. So radishes, lettuce, onions, the cold crops like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, all of those in the next few weeks can be planted. And then the time is coming pretty quickly for other things like carrots and celery if you grow those too.
Okay, so, and things like trees and shrubs, is this a good time to plant those?
It is. It's cooler, and as long as you have access to water, and so folks may need to use house water if they normally use secondary, but it is a good time to get those in as long as you can irrigate them periodically so that they don't dry out.
Yeah, and if it is going to be hot and dry this summer, it might be a really good time just to get an early start on that.
Yes, it is. And I know that a lot of water authorities, well, I use that term for any government agency or company that controls water, are still trying to define what they're going to do. And so as long as you're relatively certain you're going to have some water, then you can go ahead and plant trees and shrubs. But if your particular water authority has a history of running out of water when we have drought, you may need to hold off.
All right, it is going to be dry, and we don't have the water right now. Talk about annuals for a minute, things like petunias. Obviously, too early still, right, to be planting those, even though we're seeing June-like temperatures.
It is too early just because they're likely not even ready yet. You know, normally petunias start being mature enough from the garden centers in late April, mid to late April, and so we're still 3 to 4 weeks ahead of time. And so I doubt that unless they're in planter baskets or something, a lot of warm season flowers available like the petunias. And so I think whether we like it or not, we are going to have to wait another 3 or 4 weeks before planting those.
We know there are folks who like to plant tomato plants from seed. Is it too early for them to be putting things like that out?
If the weather holds, and it looks like the best estimates we have from meteorologists and climatologists is it looks like we're in a longer-term warm spell, I would go ahead and get them planted. You know, if it's going to heat up sooner, then you'll want to get those in before we're consistently above 80 or 85 degrees so they can get established. The tomatoes are much harder to establish when temperatures are in the 90s.
So maybe get them planted, but also we are in Utah, so make sure you can protect them if you need to.
Yes, and that's another thing that, it may be wise to start investing in some cold frames of some sort or low tunnels that you can remove from your plants or somehow manage, because I think that the kind of weather we're having is going to become more common, but with predictions, unseasonable weather is going to be more common. So we could be extremely cold one year and extremely warm the next year, get sudden frosts. And so it looks like we're going to need to be more prepared for that. And so season extending gardening methods, but that includes the summer where you're maybe even shading your plants with 20 or 30% shade cloth, is going to be something that I think will be needed for successful gardening.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, though. I mean, this is about 6 weeks early, isn't it, for planting things like tomatoes?
It is. We normally start planting tomatoes. We're about 10 days early for tomatoes if you're growing them from seed. But if you're wanting to plant them outside now, yes, we are about 6 weeks early.
All right. Anything else we should tell folks?
Just be prepared and be patient. There's no reason to be putting your tomatoes and peppers and corn out right now just because, yes, we have a warming trend, but we don't know in the middle of all this if all of a sudden we're going to fall back down into the 40s with 20s for lows at night. And so just be patient, get your cool season crops in, and if the weather's holding, get your warm season stuff in a few weeks early.
Ton Bettis is a horticulturist at Utah State University and the co-host of the KSL Greenhouse Show. Make sure you join Ton and me tomorrow morning from 8 to 11 with all of your gardening questions. The record-breaking heat we're experiencing could also have a negative effect on a little bug that's already been struggling in past years and is vital for growing our own food. That's right, we're talking about bees. During the colder months, bees don't die. They just live a slower lifestyle. There's not a lot of pollen to feed on, but because they are moving less, they use much less energy.
Bees in the fall, usually with honeybees, you need to make sure they have enough honey to survive the winter. And then they use that honey as their carbohydrates to sustain life through the winter and to survive.
That's Kelsey Howard, owner of Telegraph Bee Company. So when it's a warmer winter or an early spring, the bees move around a lot more, and that can be dangerous.
They're more active, and so they're moving around more in the hive, and then so they need to consume more of those carbohydrates, more honey to survive. And then they run the risk of starving, especially in like February, March, when there's not a lot of flowers and they are, they're trying to build up and they start brooding up, which means they start to make baby bees. That takes a lot of energy, and so they'll also need a lot of honey to kick off the spring and start making more younger bees in the spring.
With the warm temperatures we've seen all winter, plus the hot temps right now, how do they keep up the honey supply? Howard tells KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott that sometimes they'll place sugar near the colony so the bees stay happy and fed.
Beekeepers, especially with honeybees, you need to make sure they have enough food in the hive to survive. And so what beekeepers can do is supplement them with like fondant or sugar syrup when it's warm like this. So it's really important to keep an eye on their weight, basically how much weight they have on the hive as far as honey goes.
If the bees get too active with the warmer weather but don't get enough food, what happens then?
It can be like a totally dead colony, basically. If they run out of food, they'll just starve, and the whole colony will just collapse and die.
Howard says the bees that collect the most pollen and store the most honey by fall tend to do the best. They have a better chance of survival. But since bees are so important to the overall ecosystem, and since it's hard for the bees to know how much honey they actually need to start making it through winter, it's essential for beekeepers to step up and help the little bumbling creatures so that ultimate disaster doesn't strike and sting. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Imagine a world where you can leave the house and take your home Wi-Fi speeds with you. Thanks to Xfinity Mobile, it's not just a fantasy. Just picture it. You're at your kid's soccer practice, streaming the other game in 4K, just like that. In the airport, download a cozy family comedy in a snap with Wi-Fi power boost. What if the places you had to be felt more like everywhere you wanted to be? That's the magic of Xfinity Mobile. Reliable Wi-Fi and 5G when you need it. Xfinity. Imagine that. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Visit xfinitymobile.com to learn more. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus regular rates for 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience, More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of 2/10/26. Taxes, fees, extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Xfinity. Imagine that.
As Utah experiences some crazy heat for March, much of the West is also seeing record high temps. In fact, yesterday in the humid desert of Arizona, the thermometer reached 110 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the hottest temperature ever recorded in the month of March in the United States. But the crazy weather isn't just happening here in the West right now. ABC News meteorologist Kent Zawecki says that the heat dome that's resulted in record high temperatures in this part of the country is also contributing to severe flooding in Hawaii.
We have this atmospheric river because there was also, of course, a marine heat wave that happened over the Pacific Ocean, again, allowing a lot of evaporation into the air and potentially getting more of that water vapor into the Hawaii area. And then we have some flooding over the Pacific Northwest. And then on the backside of it, we even have a chance for severe weather the next couple of days in parts of the mid-Atlantic, over Appalachia and even the Ohio River Valley through Sunday. But let's take a look at all of these all-time record highs, all of these white dots here where an all-time March record has been broken. Here's just a list of some of them. Indio, California at 108, Phoenix at 105, Las Vegas at 95 there. And I can tell you too, it's interesting, Flagstaff reaching 84 degrees yesterday. That was hotter than Miami. Remember, Flagstaff is at a high elevation, and that's hotter than any time in March or in April on record in Flagstaff. It's only reached 80 in April even. So multiple degrees above that. And these records are going to continue today. All of these circled are either a daily or an all-time March record. Phoenix could go higher than they did yesterday. Kearney, Nebraska at 85, Kansas City at 87, Dallas even in the 90s. Even Billings could reach 82. That'd be an all-time March record for them. And these records will continue as we head into the weekend and through the weekend. Again, either all-time March or just daily as we even head into the Great Plains.
As we go through this historic heat wave, make sure you have the free KSL weather app so you can stay up to date on the forecast and any weather watches and warnings. Just go to the Apple App Store or Google Play Store and search for KSL weather. The cost of war continues to grow, with the Pentagon asking Congress for hundreds of billions of dollars to keep the fight going. After the break, we'll break down the cost on the average American family. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Ricky?
We do have Salt Lake City PD wrapping up a crash downtown at 8th South and 5th East, and southbound I-15 bogged down and slow between Murray and 90th South Sandy, where just before that we have some vehicles over to the right shoulder. Not sure if it's a crash, but they are out of traffic, and we should start to see the delays starting to ease. Gear up for adventure at the Utah RV Super Show. Find gear, talk with experts, and explore new 2026 RVs. March 19th through 22nd at Mountain America Expo Center, UtahRVSupershow.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL Bracket Update every 15 minutes, brought to you by the Stern Team Omada. Here's Jason Jones. Jason?
It's another great game down in the Midwest region. Virginia, the 3 seed, against Wright State, the 14 seed, 53-53. 12 and a half minutes left in the game there. Oh, that's going to come right down to the wire, and it's going to be another fantastic finish. I can feel it. Yeah, Arizona is right now 74-45 over Long Island, so they are taking care of business there. Early in the first half, Iowa State 9-3 over Tennessee State. Your earlier winners were Kentucky and Texas Tech. With your KSL Bracket Update, I'm Jason Jones.
Follow NCAA tournament updates and all other sports updates on KSLSports.com.
Are your investments in the right accounts? What's best, traditional or Roth? Are you receiving all available tax deductions? Are you paying as little in tax as you can? These are all questions you can't afford to get wrong. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth, and in many cases, it's not what you make, but it's what you keep that makes the real difference. Trajan Wealth and Trajan Tax work closely together exclusively. No more guessing about whether you should do a Roth conversion, or if maxing out your 401k is really the best option. Our nationally recognized fiduciary advisors and CPA team work in tandem to make sure your tax strategy works with your investment strategy. We'll even do your tax preparation. One team, one strategy. Isn't it time for a second opinion? Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
It was opening night at Hale Center Theater for The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Victor Hugo's classic tale. I was with my son, Ian, and it was nothing short of spectacular. The staging, the costuming, the music, it's simply breathtaking. And, of course, the actors and the voices. You have to see The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's on the main stage right now at Hale Center Theater. So many of the scenes are never to be forgotten. For example, when Frollo is just struggling with his passion for Esmeralda and his soul, the flames and the tension on the stage is unbelievable. And to see the Hunchback up in the tower with the bells, don't miss Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's underway right now at Hale Center Theater. And continuing, Peter Pan Goes Wrong, that's on the Jewel Box stage, and Hallmarked on the Beehive stage. Get your tickets now, hct.org. Don't miss The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
It's spring. You get outside and it's obvious your house needs painting. Make an appointment with CertaPro Painters. They'll give you a free estimate quickly and at the right price. And they make the entire process easy with reliable updates and communication. They know how important your home is to you. True professionals, they're committed to quality and exceptional service at the right price. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated, so schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Looking for a unique Monday activity for the family? Step aboard Titanic, the exhibition, located at the shops at Southtown and Sandy. Every Monday through April 1st, enjoy Titanic Family Days. Kids can enjoy a thrilling scavenger hunt and make their very own Morse code bracelets. Book your cashless tickets today at titanicexhibition.com. Use promo code FamilyDays20 to save 20%. That's the titanicexhibition.com.
You were listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. As the Iran war now nears its fourth week, the Pentagon is preparing to ask lawmakers for a major cash infusion of $200 billion to finance the operation. News Nation Washington correspondent Trevor Shirley has more.
If approved, this would be one of the biggest standalone emergency funding packages Congress has approved in recent history. The Pentagon will soon ask Congress for $200 billion to keep the war in Iran going.
It takes money to kill bad guys.
Already, estimates say the war is costing U.S. taxpayers between $1 and $2 billion per day. And some Democratic lawmakers say enough is enough.
It is beyond the pale that the administration is now floating the possibility of coming to Congress and asking for tens of billions of dollars more.
The new request comes on top of the $150 billion extra the Pentagon received through last year's One Big Beautiful Bill. President Donald Trump's signature domestic policy achievement. And even some Republicans say the Pentagon's ask is too much.
I've already told leadership I am a no on any war supplementals. I am so tired of spending money elsewhere.
Democrats are almost entirely opposed.
The Trump administration will spend $30 billion in just the first 30 days of the war.
$200 billion is about a quarter of the Pentagon's annual defense budget. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth suggested the $200 billion number could change.
We're going back to Congress and our folks there to ensure that we're properly funded for what's been done, for what we may have to do in the future.
Many lawmakers are also demanding additional answers from the Trump administration on the Iran operations and calling for public hearings. Getting that amount of money approved by Congress will be an uphill battle either way, and at this point it's not clear when Congress may take a vote. Reporting in Washington, I'm Trevor Shirley.
There is obviously a lot of other costs associated with the war, the cost on American families. Investopedia editor-in-chief Caleb Silver tells Utah's Morning News that the cost of war, coupled with inflation, tariffs, and the weaker labor market, makes things really unsteady. And remember, investors don't like it when things are unsteady.
Yeah, it's costing American households anywhere from a few $100s a month to $1,000 or more, depending on if you have multiple vehicles to fill up and many mouths to feed. But that's what we're seeing in terms of higher prices, not just for oil and gas prices, and we know that that is a factor, but we're also seeing it in fertilizer prices. We're also seeing it in pharmaceuticals. We're also seeing it in components that come to the U.S. We haven't seen the full effects of this yet, but we already had higher prices due to tariffs. They are coming our way, and we all know that the Fed held interest rates steady this week because there's a ton of uncertainty around prices and how high they're going to climb.
That is Investopedia's editor-in-chief, Caleb Silver. Since the war began, we've talked a lot about the price at the pump rising. In fact, today the national average for a gallon of gas is $3.91. It's $5.16 for a gallon of diesel. But one kind of fuel that we haven't heard much about is natural gas. Midday's Andy Cupp had some questions about that, and he joins me now in studio. So, Andy, is natural gas being affected by the war in Iran?
Yes, but not so much here in the United States. So I reached out to Enbridge Gas to get some clarification and some answers on how this works. I mean, for some people might understand natural gas versus regular gas versus diesel. I am unintelligent there. So I wanted to ask some questions. Well. So yeah, the American Gas Association actually says that right now the prices in Europe are about $18. In North America, it's about $3. So we're seeing quite a major difference there. Enbridge says that there's a lot of natural gas supply and a huge delivery and storage infrastructure here in the United States, and we get a lot of our natural gas from the United States. So it doesn't affect us as much when there are issues elsewhere. Enbridge Gas says that they don't see any immediate changes to supply or prices. They say they are looking closely and watching the situation in the Middle East, but they say for right now there's a lot of kind of padding, a lot of protection here in the United States when it comes to natural gas. And I mean, granted, we're moving into the warm season, so we won't use as much natural gas for heating, but you still use it for your stove or your hot water heater. Some cars run on it, but as of right now, we're pretty good here in the United States, especially here in Utah, Idaho, and Wyoming. But never say never. We'll see.
It's good that it's been warmer.
It's true. That'll be helpful.
All right. Thanks, Andy. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Fentanyl operations pulling nearly 1 million fatal doses of the drug off the streets. Mortgage rates are up, but home equity rates are down. We'll get details on how that relationship works. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
Slowdowns on southbound I-15 in Salt Lake County starting in Murray. Maria?
We are not done with the warm temperatures yet. Highs today and tomorrow, about 82 degrees, and it looks like a bit of a drop on Sunday. Well, kind of a big drop, down to 69 degrees. Right now, 73 downtown.
ABC News, I'm Mike Dabuski. Cleanup efforts are now underway in the Old City neighborhood of Jerusalem after an Iranian missile injured several people there. As the fighting in Iran continues, oil prices have been spiking amid the continued fighting around the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial waterway for transporting crude oil. ABC's Sherry Preston.
The International Energy Agency telling the Financial Times, even if the conflict ends and the Strait of Hormuz reopens, it could take 6 months or even longer to bring back oil and gas fields. The IEA is encouraging people to conserve gas where possible, including driving slower, using public transit, and, if allowed, working from home.
Estimates from Gas Buddy now put the national average for a gallon of regular at $3.93 a gallon. In Hawaii, Governor Josh Green has activated the National Guard to assist with severe flooding in that state, with storm systems dropping 1 to 2 inches of rain an hour in some areas. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. The record-breaking March heat may be detrimental to the beeves of the beehive state.
When you have a warm spring or like a warm winter, they're more active. And so they're moving around more in the hive. And then so they need to consume more of those carbohydrates, more honey to survive. And then they run the risk of starving.
Kelsey Howard, owner of the Telegraph Bee Company, says the problem is especially pronounced in February and March when the bees go into breeding system, which comes with a higher demand for energy. Howard says beekeepers can supplement the remaining honey with fondant or other sugary waters, but wild bees are more at risk of starving. Other local stories KSL is following. The warm winter is also hitting Utah's lakes. Bullfrog Marina is getting a new temporary location thanks to the low levels. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Lake Powell is trying to keep everyone safe, and the Glen Canyon National Recreation Area says moving the marina to deeper water is one of the best ways to do that. The Bullfrog Marina will go from the western shore to the eastern shore. It will be pretty close to the Halls Crossing Marina. The boat rentals and fuel docks will also be close to the area, but the campground, restaurant, gas station, and lodge will stay in their normal place. It will basically double the amount of time it takes to get there from Hanksville, but those traveling from Blanding will have their commute cut in half. The move is set to start early next month. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by nearly 500 points, more than a full percent, sitting at 45,528. S&P down by 111 points. The Nasdaq down by 2.25%, down 492 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. Here's Ricky Meese.
Some leftover slowdown southbound I-15 starting just after 53rd South and wrapping up by the time you're in Midvale. But northbound I-15, we've also had a little bit of busy traffic near 33rd South. No accidents on I-15 reported at this time. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the updated 7-day forecast, not a chance of rain for the next 7 days. Temperatures staying pretty warm in the 80s for the next couple, down to 69 by Sunday, and then in the mid-70s for the rest of next week. Right now, 73 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. The KSL bracket update every 15 minutes. It's brought to you by the Stern Team Omada. Here's Jason Jones. Jason?
And here we go. 62-61 right now. Virginia with the lead over Wright State. This is a 3 seed against a 14 seed. Actually 63-61. They just made another free throw. Just under 10 minutes left in the game there. It's going to go down to the wire. Early on in the first half, Iowa State over Tennessee State 26-7. Alabama and Hofstra just kind of tipped off. It's 13-9 Alabama early there, and Arizona's getting ready to wrap up their win over Long Island. Remember our earlier winners, Kentucky and Texas Tech. With your KSL bracket update, I'm Jason Jones.
Follow NCAA tournament updates and all other sports updates on KSLSports.com.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This weekly tax tip is brought to you by the Utah Association of Certified Public Accountants. Here's CEO Susan Spears.
One fast-growing tax scam right now involves identity theft, when criminals file fake tax returns or access benefits using your information. That's where ID.me comes in. ID.me helps protect taxpayers like you by making sure the person using the IRS's online services is actually you. It uses identity verification, like your ID and a selfie, to stop fraudsters from accessing your tax information or government benefits in your name. Once your identity is verified, you can safely access IRS tools, review your tax information, and it can also help someone else from filing a phony tax return under your name.
Get the most out of your income tax preparation when you hire a licensed CPA. Visit uacpa.org to find a CPA that's right for you. And check out new tax tip videos by following on social media at Talk to Your CPA.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. 920,000 fatal doses of fentanyl are now off the streets thanks to a nationwide crackdown. The Drug Enforcement Administration has been executing Operation Fentanyl Free America, trying to get the deadly drug off the street and curb the amount of overdose deaths. Stephen Tubbs, spokesperson for the DEA Rocky Mountain Field Division, says Phase 2 of their operation that ran from mid-January to mid-February was a success.
We seized across our 4 states, Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, and Montana, more than 17 kilograms of fentanyl powder, nearly 200,000 fentanyl pills. 62 people were arrested, 57 guns seized, and we seized more than $5.5 million in currency. So it's all part of DEA's effort to have a fentanyl-free America.
Tubbs tells KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson the DEA will continue to tackle this deadly problem.
Fentanyl absolutely is the deadliest drug threat that has ever faced our country. It sounds almost hyperbole, like, we're just kind of pulling something out. Look, you talk with somebody that has lost a loved one, a child, a mom, a dad, a sister, an uncle. They'll tell you that fentanyl is still killing people. Overall, the death numbers in the United States are coming down. However, there will probably still be close to 70,000 Americans that will die due to a fentanyl pill poisoning this year alone. So this whole Operation Fentanyl Free America is really just DEA's way of continuing the work that the men and women do every day. But I can tell you, fentanyl pill seizures in Utah are up. Methamphetamine seizures and cocaine seizures are continuing to outpace most of the last several months, if not the last couple of years. So we're really committed to not only making the streets as safe as possible in Utah, but across the country as well.
Part of this operation is about enforcement, but the other part is informing the public about the dangers of fentanyl, because just one pill could kill.
Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid, so that means you don't need Mother Nature. You don't need hectares of land, say, like in marijuana or cocaine production. The precursor chemicals primarily have come from China. They're shipped to Mexico, and the fentanyl that you see on the streets of Utah is almost certainly produced by the Mexican drug cartels in Mexico. Once these pills are produced by the tens of millions, they make their way up through into the United States. And certainly with Utah's proximity and Interstate 15, of course, it's coming up through the border, through San Diego, through Los Angeles, up through Vegas, and right into Utah. The fact that so many people are dying continues to obviously drive DEA. The death toll numbers, again, have gone down over the last couple of years from a high in 2023 of about 110,000 deaths. Today alone, there will be as many people dying of fentanyl in the United States, the equivalent to a 737 fully loaded jet going down. And that'll happen tomorrow and next week and next month and this fall. So that's why we're so committed to fighting fentanyl.
Stephen Tubbs is a spokesperson for the DEA Rocky Mountain Field Division. Today is Match Day at the U, where graduating med students find out which hospital they will continue their training. Korek Chakraborty is one of the 120 students to learn his next step today. He matched into internal medicine at Case Western University Hospital in Ohio, where he will now move with his fiancée.
It's been a long, long time coming. Lots of, sleepless nights, countless hours of hard work together to this point. Basically, we've been working all our lives for this moment to open that envelope and get to know where we're going. It's a surreal feeling, hard to explain, lots of different emotions, happy. I'm definitely a bit emotional as well because my dad couldn't be here. It was one of his biggest dreams to see this moment, but he unfortunately passed away during COVID-19 back in India. But I know he's here with us in spirit, and I hope that I've been able to make him proud.
Chakraborty says his dad has been his hero since he was a child and always supported him and his passion.
Having the passion is a very important thing with medicine because, this is definitely a calling, wanting to serve people and be involved in people's lives in this way. It's a calling. It's a very rewarding journey, but it's definitely a long one. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We hear that all the time. But it's a very, very well worth rewarding journey that I hope everyone who really is passionate about it should go for, because there's a lot of good to do in this world we live in now, and we need more doctors and we need more people in healthcare who are compassionate and who are willing to go above and beyond for their patients.
He tells KSL-TV that he has a special interest in cardiology and preventative cardiology, so he was happy to learn that he'd be going to Case Western in Cleveland. It's been a long but rewarding journey, and he says he's glad his fiancée was along for the ride.
We would think one of the steps is the hardest and the next one gets even harder. It just keeps getting harder. But that being said, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I don't want to discourage anyone. I don't know. I think getting into medical school definitely was one of the bigger challenges because once you're in, it's like you're kind of going through the process and it's hard. Steps are going to be hard, but I think that initial hurdle of getting into medical school was definitely challenging for me. But once we got there, I think especially since we had each other as people we knew that we were going through this journey together, helped us a lot, especially during hard times.
Among the graduating students, 39 students will stay in Utah for a portion of their training. We do have some breaking news here on KSL News Radio. President Trump right now speaking to reporters about the Iran war.
Others could help us, but, we don't use it. At a certain point, it'll open itself at a certain point. But we've defeated the enemy, and they are an enemy. They're a sick group of people. The leadership is gone. The Navy is gone. The Air Force is gone. The anti-aircraft equipment that they have, the radar they have is all gone. Everything's gone. The strait itself, the actual strait, how are you? The strait itself is, we're doing a good job. But it would be nice if the countries, including China, if the countries that use it, China uses it 90% of their energy. Japan is 95% of the energy. It would be nice if those countries would get involved.
Has Ukraine drop still safe at CNI?
What? I thought she did a good job yesterday, actually.
The American bases in Europe, Lindsey Graham has asked for you to reconsider the American bases in Spain, in Germany, after what they have done in the Strait of Hormuz. What's your take?
Well, it deserves. He's right about asking that, and I think NATO's gone down a long way because they haven't. They should be helping with the Strait. They get much of their energy from the Strait of Hormuz, and if Lindsey Graham said that, and don't forget, he was the big NATO guy for a while, and now he's not. And a lot of senators and congressmen, they're very upset with the fact that NATO has done nothing.
And you've been listening to President Trump answering reporters' questions about the war in Iran. The president saying that we've defeated the enemy, and also saying all Iran is doing is clogging up the Strait of Hormuz. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
I'm here with Monty from Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer. So, Monty, I wonder if you know someone like this. He's the ultimate DIY guy. Restores classic cars, builds his own deck, and even smokes his own brisket.
Sounds like a talented guy.
He is. But get this, his other weekend hobby is troubleshooting his water softener. He's always down there resetting the timer or fiddling with the circuit board.
See, Doug, that's where I draw the line. Smoking a brisket is a great weekend project.
Yeah.
Fixing an electric water softener is just a chore.
Exactly. He thinks he's saved money by buying the bargain brand, but he's paying for it with his Saturdays.
That's the Connecticut difference. Our systems are premium because they are non-electric and fully automated. No computers to fry, no timers to reset. We install it and you get back to the hobbies you actually enjoy.
If you want soft water, do what I did and leave that to Connecticut. It runs on water power, not willpower. Learn more at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Just a few days after the Federal Reserve decided to hold interest rates where they were, citing the ongoing war with Iran and big unknowns, mortgage rates are going up again. ABC's Michelle Franzen explains.
Mortgage buyer Freddie Mac shows a 30-year fixed rate now stands at 6.22%. That's up from 6.11% the prior week. Mortgage rates jumping to the highest level in months. The rates for home loans had been declining since the start of this year, dipping below 6% at one point, but since the start of the war with Iran, rates have edged up. Analysts say it will add to the sluggish housing market and sideline home ownership for many Americans who were on the hunt this spring for a home. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Mortgage rates may be going up, but home equity rates are actually the most affordable that they have been in 3 years. Joining me for more on this is bank rate home lending expert and certified HELOC specialist Linda Bell. Linda, thanks for being with us.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
So first of all, explain how home equity rates are going down, but the mortgage rates are going up.
Well, that has a lot to do with what we've seen the Fed doing last year, right? So when we saw the Fed cutting interest rates, that's when HELOC rates have really been kind of diving and dipping down. And HELOC rates are actually at 7.7%. That's the lowest they've been in more than 3 years. And, while that is higher than the ultra-low rates that we saw, HELOC rates during the pandemic, like 4% rates, they are more affordable than credit cards or personal loans. So we've seen a lot of interest in HELOCs, especially with rates, mortgage rates kind of inching back higher, as your report mentioned earlier.
Okay, so for homeowners that are listening, how can they best use these home equity loans to their advantage? I mean, can they use them to do away with their credit card rates or credit card bills, I should say?
Yeah, their credit card bills. Well, that's one thing that people use HELOCs for, to consolidate debt and things like that. People use HELOCs and home equity loans to do renovations on their homes. But you have to make sure that you have enough equity in your home. And most lenders require that you have about 80 to 85%. Some lenders accept actually lower than that. It really kind of depends on the lender. But if you're able to kind of tap into that equity and use it for renovations or consolidating debt, it's great, because a lot of homeowners out there are sitting on those sub 3% mortgage rates that we saw during the pandemic, and they don't want to move. And home prices are still high, and you mentioned earlier about mortgage rates being higher, so many are choosing to stay put and doing those renovations and other things.
Okay, are there those who should not take advantage of these HELOC loans?
Well, there's one thing to understand is if you do a HELOC or a home equity loan, the thing is that you're borrowing against your home equity, right? So if for any reason that you can't repay this loan, you could risk losing your home. So you definitely don't want that to happen. And also with HELOCs, the rates are adjustable, right? So you may see them at 7.7%, 7.17%, but then it could creep higher as the year progresses. So you never know. So it's important that you kind of understand the risks before you dive in.
Right. Well, you always have to consider a lot of things before you take out any sort of loan. Any other thoughts for folks who might be considering taking advantage of a HELOC?
Well, as I mentioned, you make sure you understand that you're borrowing against your home. The rates are adjustable, so they could adjust higher. But again, you have to kind of say, okay, it's more affordable than credit cards, which are at about 19%, and personal loans, which are about 12%. So they're more affordable, but you kind of have to weigh the pros and cons.
Linda, appreciate your time. Thanks for being with me.
Sure thing.
Linda Bell, home lending expert and certified HELOC specialist at Bankrate. After the break, we're going to take a closer look at a program that the FBI has that'll give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the Bureau operates. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio, and it's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
In Weber County, we do have some busy traffic, a little bit of a slightly reduced speed southbound I-15 going from Riverdale into the Roy and Sunset area. And in Salt Lake County, fire crews and authorities are wrapping up a vehicle fire in Mill Creek, 4500 South Wasatch Boulevard, blocking northbound left lanes. If your roof needs repair or replacement, do it now during S&S Roofing's huge spring sale. Flexible financing options available. Get the best value on the highest quality roofing job. Get a quote today at snsroofingutah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL Bracket Update every 15 minutes. It's brought to you by the Stern Team Omada. Here's Jason Jones.
And
Jason?
down to the wire we come. Sorry about that. 73-70, Virginia over Wright State. 2:59 left in the game there. Iowa State with a big 44-19 lead over Tennessee State. Now, this one's shaping up to maybe be an early upset. Hofstra right now 28-21 over Alabama. That's a 13 seed over a 4 seed. 7:34 left in the first half there. Your earlier winners are going to be Arizona, Texas Tech, and Kentucky. I guess I shouldn't say are going to be. They were Arizona, Texas Tech, and Kentucky. With your KSL Bracket Update, I'm Jason Jones.
Follow the NCAA tournament updates and all other sports updates at kslsports.com.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Take the first step. Visit CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
Gear up for adventure at the Utah RV Super Show. Whether you're outfitting a new rig or upgrading your current setup, you'll find awnings, hitches, solar panels, camping gear, and more. Shop top brands, talk with experts, and explore the latest 2026 RV models all under one roof. The Utah RV Super Show takes over the Mountain America Expo Center Thursday, March 19th through Sunday, March 22nd. Learn more at UtahRVSupershow.com. That's UtahRVSupershow.com.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother. A necklace tucked away in a drawer. Pieces full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jeweler specializes in reimagining family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Duke's on-site jewelers and designers work with you one-on-one to honor the original story while creating something fresh, modern, and uniquely yours. From resetting diamonds into new engagement rings to transforming multiple heirloom pieces into one stunning design. Every project is crafted with care, precision, and intention. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, where old stories become new treasures. dukesjewelers.com.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Are you curious about how the FBI works? Or maybe you want to learn yourself how to spot things like cyber crimes or romance scams? The FBI has a unique opportunity for everyday folks to join its upcoming Citizens Academy. Nominations for the 2026 Academy open today, and you can nominate either yourself or someone else. Robert Bowles is a special agent in charge of the Salt Lake City field office, and he says the Citizens Academy offers a rare opportunity to see the FBI's mission from the inside and to learn how to build a stronger, safer community. Our very own Caitlin Johnston, the producer of Inside Sources here on KSL News Radio, actually took part in the last Citizens Academy, and she joins me now to talk about it. So, Caitlin, first of all, why did you take part in the Academy?
Well, first off, I'm just a curious person to start. So I had a personal interest, but mainly because my role within the media, we often, report on these different stories of crime all the time. And I just wanted to get a better understanding about what the FBI did, how it works, how they work with local law enforcement. And I sure learned a lot.
So, yeah, kind of describe how the Academy works.
Basically, mine was on a specific night of the week for a few hours. I believe it was 6 to 9, so, yeah, around there, out kind of after the regular work hour. And you just go and you sit through different presentations. They would fit, 2 or 3 topics per class and go in depth. And you got to ask these agents and different representatives that have actually worked on specific cases, direct questions on how they solved these crimes or what they do on a daily basis. And then there were other times where it was lecture, and then we also got to do the simulation room where you were kind of in an active shooter situation. That was one specific class that stood out to me. But yeah, pretty much a sit-down class, but with other, perks here and there.
Okay, so you had certain journalistic reasons for wanting to do this, but does the Academy cover things that would be helpful for just any citizen?
Yes, anyone can do this, as far as I understand. I had a mix of people in my class. There were different representatives from the media, myself included. We had a mayor in there. We had people who work in psychology, and just the average Joe. Anyone can apply, and it's their goal, from what I understand, is just to give the community a broader understanding of how the FBI works so they can kind of work together with the community.
Okay, so you mentioned the active shooter situation, that crime. What other kinds of crimes did you get a closer look at?
Oh, my goodness, so many. From you mentioned romance scams, that was one that really stood out to me. And also just from how people can become radicalized, domestic and international terrorism, cybersecurity, and, even just digital forensics, which is kind of hacking into phones and computers to obtain evidence in crimes, because a lot of crimes happen with our devices. It goes on. And I even got to, I never in my life thought that I would touch a Tommy gun or any type of quote unquote long gun. And I got to shoot one at the range day that we kind of closed things out with. And I'm not someone who's super comfortable with guns. I've never haven't shot a lot. And I got to learn how to, be safe with one. And that was something I never thought I would do.
Okay. So talk to me for a minute about what you take away from this, how you look at things differently after attending the Academy.
Well, I think that just, from a general standpoint, these are crimes that happen to Utahns every single day. They're in our neighborhoods and in all of our communities. And sometimes we see a headline and we can kind of just maybe we're desensitized to it or something, but it takes you a little bit closer inside how big of an impact these crimes have on people, and just kind of the work that is done by law enforcement to solve them and help, prevent these crimes from happening more often. So that was kind of my biggest takeaway. And just there are so many opportunities within the FBI specifically that I was not even aware of.
Right. And opportunities for those who maybe want a career in law enforcement.
That or it's all tied together with law enforcement. But if you're a computer science nerd, there's maybe an opportunity for you. If you can speak a different language, they have translators to help, bring in people and help solve these crimes or obtain any information from them. Anything like that. It's all over the map. But it was a great experience for sure.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. Caitlin Johnston, she's the executive producer of Inside Sources. Application period is open until April 12th. You can get more information and fill out the form on the FBI Salt Lake City field office website.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
2 weeks after the legislative session wrapped up, and Governor Spencer Cox continues his trudge through hundreds of bills passed by state lawmakers.
The governor has signed more than 200 bills into law so far, including the bell-to-bell cell phone ban bill and a bill that prohibits some gender-related medical care for minors. He has not vetoed any bills yet.
The time is 2 o'clock on Friday, March 20th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, Eye on the Hill 2026. We'll break down some of the more interesting bills that will go into law. Also this hour, the Utah State Aggies just minutes away from tip-off against Villanova in the NCAA tournament. We will chat with KSL Sports. But first, our top stories. The president of Iron County School Board is stepping down. The school district confirmed to KSL that Ben Johnson submitted his resignation yesterday. He became president in 2023 and was supposed to serve on the board until early 2029. The reason for his departure is unclear. Our top national story from ABC News. The White House unveiled a new framework for artificial intelligence. The proposal gives the power to the federal government, not state governments, to set boundaries for AI. More from ABC, Selena Wang.
What really stands out here is that they're urging Congress to preempt state laws, which is really setting up this renewed clash between some states and the federal government over who gets to set the rules for regulating this new technology. Now, the White House is arguing that their framework can only succeed if there is one unified national law rather than a bunch of patchwork state laws that are conflicting with each other.
The framework also mentions protections for children and efforts to make the workforce better equipped for AI. Taking a look at your money at this moment at the close, the Dow down by 446 points, nearly a full percent, sitting at 45,574. S&P down by 99 points. The NASDAQ down a full 2%, down 443 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Here's Ricky Meese.
We are very close to seeing emergency traffic on northbound I-15. It's due to a crash approaching 2100 South. They've moved it out of the center lanes of travel into the right lanes, and traffic already backed up to 3300 South. With nutrients blended for greener, healthier turf in our local soil, IFA's 4+ Lawn Care program is the ultimate lawn owner power move. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Headed for a high today and tomorrow of 82 degrees. Then the temperature is going to dip a bit for Sunday, down to 69 for the high, but back up into the 70s next week. Right now, 75 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. KSL Bracket Update every 15 minutes, brought to you by the Stern Team Omada. Here's Jason Jones.
Thanks, Maria. In the end, it was just a little too much Virginia. They had too much talent for Wright State. 82-73, they pull away for that 9-point victory. And earlier, we had Kentucky with a overtime win over Santa Clara, 89-84. Also, Texas Tech pulling away from Akron late, 91-71. Arizona with a big win over Long Island. That was 92-58. As of right now, there's just two games that are underway. Iowa State is taking it to Tennessee State, almost to the half. It's 53-26 there, and about 2.5 minutes left in the first half. Hofstra continues to lead Alabama. That's a 13 seed over a 4 seed, 32-28. With your KSL Bracket Update, I'm Jason Jones.
Follow the NCAA tournament updates and all other sports updates on KSLSports.com.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
A family office is a team built to handle the 3 biggest financial responsibilities a family faces: wealth management, tax strategy, and estate planning. Most firms only manage your investments and refer the rest out, hoping everyone stays aligned. At Trajan, we built something different. Your wealth, tax planning, and estate planning are handled together inside one firm under one roof. There's no guessing whether your CPA, advisor, and estate attorney are truly in sync, because our team works together every day on your behalf. When your financial life becomes more complex, your advice should become more coordinated, not more fragmented. One plan, one trusted team. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Trajan Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures and accreditation at TrajanWealth.com.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline.
So I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Hey, John, why so glum? I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this. Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career. Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos.
Eye on the Hill 2026. Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
Governor Spencer Cox continuing to wade through hundreds of bills passed by the state legislature. He's signed quite a few so far, but still has a way to go. As of right now, no vetoes. Joining me now is Bridger Biel-Svetko, KSL.com political reporter. So, Bridger, how many bills has the governor signed so far?
Yeah, thanks for having me. As of my count, yesterday, the latest update, he signed about 248 bills. That's of 542 that were passed by lawmakers this year. So like you mentioned, he's got a long way to go over the next week to consider the rest of those.
Okay, so tell us about a few of those bills that he has approved already. Which ones stick out the most for you?
Yeah, I think one that could have a big impact on affordability for Utah. He's talked a lot about building more homes. HB 530 this year has some money to develop infrastructure in cities and areas that maybe have land available to develop but don't yet have, sewage and electricity and all that stuff. So they want to target some money to places like that to help speed up the rate that we can build new houses in Utah. He was optimistic yesterday that will possibly help them hit their goal of building 35,000 new starter homes during his second term. He also signed this week a bill that would create a retention policy for third graders who aren't quite reading at grade level. That's something he's talked about a lot leading into the session, wants to boost literacy among Utah students and make sure everyone is hitting those benchmarks like they should.
Okay, kind of talk about the process. The governor's talked about some of these bills. What is the process? What does he do when he's looking at these bills? There's a lot of bills, right?
Yes, there's a lot, and he has just 20 days after the end of the session to sign them. So he has through next Thursday. Obviously, he's got a whole team that's looking at them, going over, making sure that, there's not issues. Like he's signed some things in the past that he doesn't think, or he's vetoed some things in the past that, he said, hey, this maybe doesn't need to be a bill. We could just fix this without it. So he's looking at stuff like that, looking at potential, constitutional issues or other concerns that might be raised with those bills. Some groups will lobby him to consider vetoing a bill. So it's a long process of reading through everything in detail and figuring out what they want to sign and if there's anything they want to veto.
Has he talked about any of these bills that he's just not certain about at this point?
He really hasn't. He never singles anything out in advance. We haven't heard in the past when he plans to veto a specific bill. In past years, he's signaled that he maybe has a list of a handful of bills that he's concerned about or has questions about. This year, at least talking to him a couple of weeks ago at the end of the session, he didn't have anything like that on his radar. I wouldn't be surprised if they find a couple of things that maybe they're concerned with, that we see some vetoes over the next week, but it doesn't sound like he's eyeing anything specific at this point.
Okay, so how many exactly does he have to get through by the end of next week?
I think 542, so another about 300.
Okay. Thank you so much, Biel. Or Bridger.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That is Bridger Biel-Svetko. I'll get it right. He is KSL.com's political reporter with that report for us today. Turning now to some national news. Bombshell allegations emerging against famed labor rights leader Cesar Chavez, rocking Mexican Americans and Latinos everywhere. ABC's Armando Garcia outlines the disturbing accusations against the late labor icon Cesar Chavez.
The New York Times investigation details allegations that Cesar Chavez abused women and minors. It claims that he used his position of power to exploit women who worked and volunteered for him for his own sexual gratification, including Dolores Huerta.
That was
She is a national civil rights icon in her own. She was the co-founder of the United Farm Workers.
We do represent the workers. Our problem is that the growers won't sit down and bargain.
And even now, well into her 90s, she has been known to be participating in protests.
Sí, se puede.
In a statement to ABC News, she said she decided to break her silence when the Times reporting indicated that there were other alleged victims. She said, I can no longer stay silent and must share my own experiences. She alleges she was manipulated and pressured into having sex with him and had 2 separate sexual encounters with Chavez in the 60s that led to pregnancies, which she kept hidden and later arranged for those children to be raised by other families. She said, quote, over the years, I've been fortunate to develop a deep relationship with these children who are now close to my other children, their siblings. But even then, no one knew the full truth about how they were conceived until just a few weeks ago. Cesar Chavez has been dead for over 30 years. He died at age 66. So these allegations go back decades and decades and decades. According to the Times, one of the survivors alleged she was 12 years old when Chavez first touched her inappropriately and 15 when he raped her in California. Another victim who spoke with the Times alleges she was summoned for sexual encounters with Chavez dozens of times over a 4-year period, starting when she was 13 and he was 45. So these go back decades.
On the Start Here podcast, ABC's John Quinones recounts his emotional interview with Dolores Huerta.
She seemed very pensive, soft-spoken, and a little sad and a bit teary-eyed. She is, let's face it, 95 years old. She's going to turn 96 on April 10th. But she was very firm and outspoken about what she saw and how angry really she is. If you could talk to Cesar Chavez right now, what would you say to him?
How could you? How could you?
It touches you even now.
Yes, sir.
She said she decided to speak up when she heard about those other women who claimed that when they were children, when they were, barely 12 years old, 15 years old, or were sexually assaulted by this man, so she had to speak up.
Yeah, how did she describe the decision? Because she and Chavez were so close. Their legacies from the outside seem so intertwined.
Yes.
How did she come to this decision?
For the other women, she said, your first name, Dolores, in English, it translates into pain or aching. Have you been suffering in silence, holding these secrets all these decades?
It was very hard to keep this.
She had no idea that this was happening to other people. There had been rumblings, but never any proof that this had happened to anyone else until these women talked to the New York Times.
I think I am building on the courage of these young women, that they had the courage to come out and say what happened to them. And God knows what they've suffered, And so it was time.
She wants others to speak up. She says, we all have to speak up, and she kind of regrets that she didn't sooner.
I think I was so hell-bent or so focused on organizing that I kind of put this aside. I didn't want this to get in my way of doing what I had to do, what I felt I had to do.
She just felt that by speaking out, it might derail all the great things that she and Chavez had done for farm workers and for the civil rights movement for decades now.
If you would see, as I have seen, the little 5 or 6-year-old child out in the field picking tomatoes, and their little hands are smaller than the tomatoes,
They made so many different changes. I was a migrant farm worker, and I remember when we were picking cherries in Michigan, me and my family, and then tomatoes in Ohio. Things were miserable back in the 70s. We didn't have any indoor plumbing. We stayed in these little these little huts, really. Mm-hmm. We had outdoor toilets and very little health care, no one watching the pesticides that were being sprayed on the crops we were harvesting. Right. They changed all that.
That is ABC's John Quinones and Brad Milkey on Start Here. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Amanda, I've got a cruise planned in a couple of months, and I was thinking about the other people who may have cruises planned coming up a few months from now, and why right now would be the best time for them to begin their weight loss journey on Soda Weight Loss.
If you started right now, you could lose 20, 30, 40 pounds before June.
That's right.
I lost 37 pounds in 3 months, 3.5 years ago. And the beauty about soda is it's not a quick fix. This is learning that is going to last you the rest of your life and help you be healthy.
Your clothes fit better. Your energy comes back. You don't get winded going upstairs.
Yeah.
Things that maybe you don't even realize. When I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, it felt like a transformation.
You learn what works for your body so you don't get addicted to shots or drugs. You just work with a nutritionist who's going to teach you how to keep the weight off for a lifetime.
Right now, you should go check out sodaweightloss.com, see all the thousands of before and after pictures, or speak with a nutritionist by giving a call 866-800-SODA.
Soda Weight Loss. Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
The NCAA tournament continues this hour. In fact, Utah State just tipped off in their round one match against Villanova. While the BYU Cougars are already out, Utah State still has a chance to stay in the tournament. It all depends on how this game goes. Joining me now, KSL sports anchor Alex Curie. So, Alex, game just started, but how are their chances?
Yeah, Utah State 0, Villanova 0. Back to you, Maria.
Right now, you are so cruel.
10 seconds
you are
seconds
so
into
cruel.
the game. No, look, it was supposed to.
You know, we want to give Utah
push.
State some love.
Absolutely.
It seems the other big schools get all the attention, and they're still in the game here.
Last week, at this time, we were thinking it was going to be BYU, Utah State, and even UVU, who was the quote-unquote shoo-in to win their conference tournament and go to their first NCAA tournament. Now BYU gets outed last night early. UVU didn't make it to the NCAA tournament. Utah State's our only hope for a local team that's going to keep going here. And as a 9 seed, you're playing a very similar opponent in Villanova. Massive program, obviously. They have recent national championships under their belt. It's a difficult opponent, difficult draw first round, but this Utah State team didn't just win the regular season Mountain West title. They won the full conference tournament title. I think this is a really good Jared Calhoun team, and they've got a little chip on their shoulder going, we shouldn't have been a 9 seed, we should have been a 7. So whatever you have to tell your team to get them motivated, I think it's really, really good, but it's a great matchup between these two teams.
Okay, so tell us what makes this Utah State team so special this year.
So Mason Falslev is the player of the year in the conference. He's their guy, and he's not just like a really, really good player. He is like the energy on this team. And now there's a lot of these guys, but Mason Falslev is just this. He's a phenomenal defender. Utah State's used to having like your Sam Merrills and J.C. Carrolls who are amazing shooters, just sharp shooters. They can put points in. Mason Falslev scores, but his biggest thing is he just is. I mean, think John Stockton. He riles things up on the floor. It's just very, very aggressive, and he's a super good defender, and he just gets in guys' faces. He just brings a ton of energy. And so Mason Falslev is that guy that's the key to Utah State really doing well. But they have a really good team. They've got to shoot the free throws well. They've either been like 90% on the year or they've been like 50% during games, and so they have to be really, really good from the stripe and hopefully draw those fouls as well from Villanova.
Okay, right now the score 4-3. Utah State is leading by 1.
I mean,
it's
in this uphill.
Game.
It's all look. I live and die by 1 and 2 points in these tournaments, so I'm all for it. I would love to see Utah State make a deep run here. It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. It means a lot to this team.
It does.
You mentioned that little chip on their shoulder.
No, and that's what you do as a coach. You go, we weren't supposed. We should have been a higher seed. Whatever you need to tell them. I don't care who. Tom Brady was the best player in the planet forever, and he would tell people. He would tell himself, this other team is slighting me. They're not giving me enough respect. Just to tell himself. Michael Jordan did the same thing. Oh, you're going to disrespect me. Everyone's like, no one's disrespecting you. Whatever you have to manufacture to get your guys pumped up for the tournament.
Okay, we're going to say they're going to win, right?
I hope so.
So who would they play next if they did win?
They would likely be up against number 1 Purdue, I think. It's a number 1 seed. No, I think it's Arizona, maybe. They would have to face a number 1 seed, and I think it's Arizona on that side. That's why you don't want to be in the 8-9 game. You want to be able to wait, because if you're in that 8-9 game, you're likely playing the number 1 seed in the next round, which is always tough. They did that a couple years ago with Purdue, and that's a tough draw for them. But either way, awesome year for this Aggie team. I'd love to see them win at least one.
All right, thanks, Alex. Right now they're tied 6-6. I'll let you get back to the game. All right, KSL sports anchor Alex Curie joining me. A nearly 100-year-old news network is now set to close up shop in just a few months. More on CBS Radio News Network's legacy and what this means for journalism and broadcasting as a whole next. But first, it's traffic, and it is emergency traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. Ricky?
Well, northbound I-15 all jammed up due to two crashes. The first one is just before 2100 South, blocking right lanes of traffic on northbound I-15. Then after that, KSL's own Eric Butler giving us a heads up about another crash about 2100 South, just after, over to the left shoulder. As a result, we have stacked up, backed up, and slow traffic northbound I-15, 4500 South Murray to 2100 South. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cyprus Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypruscu.com today. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL Bracket Update every 15 minutes, brought to you by the Stern Team Omada. Here's Jason Jones.
And speaking of Mason Falslev, as of course Alex Curie just was, he has 6 early points, and Utah State with the early 8-6 lead over Villanova. Just under 16 minutes left in that. In fact, in the first half there. I don't want to say in the game. Nope, that one just started there. Alabama is 37-35 over Hofstra at the half. Iowa State running away from Tennessee State. That one's 55-29. Also at the half there. Your earlier winners were Arizona, Virginia, Texas Tech, and Kentucky. With your KSL Bracket Update, I'm Jason Jones.
Follow NCAA tournament updates, all other sports updates on KSLSports.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to walk, play pickleball, and enjoy other fun activities to stay healthy, but you can't because of bad feet? Hi, this is Mike, and the Good Feet store wants to help.
I just had difficulty walking. I tried them on in the store, and my foot felt so much better.
Do you keep buying new shoes and inserts with little or no relief?
I tried all kinds of shoes. It was the arch supports that made the difference from the Good Feet store.
Don't let bad feet, knees, or back problems get in the way of staying healthy and having fun.
Thanks to the Good Feet store, I bowl in 3 nights a week.
Get back to doing what you love. At the Good Feet store, we'll personally fit you with high-quality arch supports to maximize your comfort. Stop in the Good Feet store or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Looking for something fun to do in Utah? Head to ksl.com/win and enter our weekly contest for your chance to score some amazing prizes. This week, you could win tickets to see Jenny Oaks Baker live or experience Ballet West's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Plus, enter to win KSL Sports Bracket Mayhem. Submit your picks now, and the best local bracket will win $1,000. It's quick, it's free, and you could be our next big winner. Don't miss out. Enter now at ksl.com/win.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Every day here in Utah, people turn to KSL News Radio for one simple reason: trust. Trust for our reporters, hosts, our coverage, and trust in the businesses heard right here. I've met so many of our listeners over the years, and they'll tell you KSL is part of their daily routine, in the car, at work, at home. And when they hear your business here, it carries the weight of that trust. It isn't just another ad. It's a recommendation coming from a reliable source. When you advertise on KSL News Radio, you reach a loyal, highly engaged audience who listens intentionally. They show up for breaking news, accurate information, and meaningful conversations. And because of that connection, they respond. And when you pair our on-air credibility with digital tools like display advertising, social media, streaming audio, search, geo-targeting, and retargeting, you get a full funnel strategy that works and reaches the right people at the right time. Get marketing that truly moves the needle. Partner with the voice Utah trusts. KSL. Learn more at kslnewsradio.com/advertise.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. After nearly a century, CBS News is ending its radio news operations. The network citing a shift in radio station programming strategies and challenging economic times. I asked the executive director of the Radio TV Digital News Association, Michael Sansorino, for his reaction to this news.
First reaction is sadness. CBS News Radio is part of the fabric of America. It has been, for the past century, and gave rise to some of the greatest journalists that this country has known. Additionally, it's not just the legacy of CBS News Radio. It was the present. I mean, they serve about 700 stations throughout the country, places that increasingly are becoming news deserts because outlets are having more trouble reaching them, or there are fewer outlets now that can reach some of these communities. So it is sadness. I think when outlets are silenced, when journalism leaves places, things don't get better; they get worse. And I think that's the thing I mourn the most.
Yeah. What are the options for their affiliates?
Well, there will be fewer options to choose from. I mean, the hope is that they can continue in some form or fashion and find some licensing agreement with another provider who can provide news. But anytime you have fewer options to choose from, the journalism suffers, and that's not an indictment on any of the other networks out there that are licensing content throughout the country. But we've seen it happen with newspapers. We're seeing it with, consolidation in TV markets. When there are fewer journalists, when there's less competition, the end product suffers. That competition, it drives journalists to chase the story, to do that investigation, to make that one extra call. And with less competition, we're going to see a different end product as a result.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting conversation. I mean, if you talk to lawmakers on the federal scale, they'll say, hey, well, Americans have all of these different options to get their news, more sources than ever before.
There certainly are more options than ever before. There are people creating content in interesting and unique ways, and they're innovative. They're sort of moving the industry forward in different directions. I think, as someone who has a, traditional journalism education and background, I know the things I learned in journalism school. I know the things that a lot of reporters learned in journalism school about ethics, about, the way we handle and treat sources, the way we handle vulnerable individuals. At the Radio Television Digital News Association, we have a code of ethics, and we have about 40 different coverage guidelines for how to handle different circumstances and situations. And the challenge is when we lose individuals who have that traditional journalism training and background, they are being replaced by new content creators. But there's a divide between those content creators and the formal journalism training. And that's where our organization has a challenge moving forward to how can we help to train and arm this next generation of journalists who might not even consider themselves journalists. The problem is in that in-between time, right, where, we're not able to really have this new group of content creators with that foundation of journalism, and what does that mean for the end product?
Michael, what does this mean for broadcasting as a whole?
I don't want to say it's a seismic shift because this has been coming for a while. I think broadcast radio, broadcast television is in a moment of crisis. And the future is going to look significantly different from the past. I am optimistic. I'm hopeful because what other choice do we have, right? I'm optimistic and hopeful that innovation really intelligent people are going to help to push this forward in a meaningful way. But there certainly is the possibility that, you're going to see broadcast dwindle, and the things that we really cherish about it might die with it. I think challenge creates opportunity, and the organizations that are up for the challenge are the ones who will thrive. I don't think, CBS News Radio is shuttering, but audio journalism is thriving. And I think the legacy broadcast organizations who are able to take this opportunity and capitalize on it and mold it in their image, I think can thrive. And that's certainly what I'm rooting for, and that's what we are going to be working very hard to help achieve.
The hard part is capitalizing on it, right? Even though it's thriving, it's hard to make money on it.
Newspapers were the same way. You had more people reading news than ever before, but they couldn't figure out a way to monetize it. And I think broadcast is in the same boat. It's problematic. It's troubling. It's concerning. I think we all know democracy depends on quality journalism. And we've got to figure this out quickly because it's necessary. I mean, it is vital to the future of our country.
Michael Sansorino is the executive director of the Radio TV Digital News Association. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Are you itching to get into your yard or garden this weekend thanks to the warm weather? Well, beware. You might have to spend a bit more on fertilizer thanks to the war in Iran. We have details, plus a closer look, at this historic heat. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
New delays northbound I-15, this time in Weber County due to a crash. Maria?
Now a look at KSL's top local stories. The record-breaking March heat could take a toll on Utah's bee population. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott has more.
Bees are able to survive winter because of a slower lifestyle and cold temperatures. There's not much pollen to feed on, but because they're moving less, they use much less energy. So when a warm winter keeps them moving, how do they keep up the honey supply? Well, Kelsey Howard, owner of Telegraph Bee Company, says beekeepers sometimes place sugar near the colony to keep the bees fed.
You need to make sure they have enough food in the hive to survive. And so what beekeepers can do is supplement them with like fondant or sugar syrup when it's warm like this.
Unfortunately, Howard says wild bee colonies do not have the same luxury. This warm winter may cause their colony to collapse entirely. Cameron Elliott, KSL News Radio.
Other local stories KSL is following. Lake Powell is preparing for low water levels this summer. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla has more.
The Glen Canyon National Recreation Area is going to temporarily move the Bullfrog Marina into deeper water. It will go from the western shore of Lake Powell to the eastern side, closer to Hall's Crossing Marina. The change of location will add some travel time for visitors, doubling the time it takes to get to the marina from Hanksville. But it will cut the trip in half for people traveling from Blanding.
The move is set to take place in April. Taking a look at your money at this moment, it was a bad day for the stock market, a bad end to the week. The Dow ending down 443 points, nearly a full percent, sitting at 45,577. S&P down by 100 points. The Nasdaq down a full 2%, down 443 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big. UCCU, love where you bank. And we're out of emergency traffic, Ricky?
We are out of emergency traffic. The crash on northbound I-15 prior to 2100 South moved out of traffic. Lanes are open. Some residual delays, but a new crash northbound I-15 near 12th Street in Weber County on the right, and a crash in Draper. This is at Bangerter Highway and 200 West. It's Utah's favorite shopping tradition that you can't miss. Simple Treasures this week. Hundreds of local vendors, one-of-a-kind pieces, gifts, wearables, food, and more. Discounted tickets available. Easy checkout. Visit simpletreasures.boutique. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Get out and enjoy the nice temperatures today. Tomorrow, the high near 82 degrees. Sunday, dipping a bit down to 69, but then back into the 70s for next week. 75 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. The KSL Bracket Update every 15 minutes brought to you by the Stern Team Omada. Here's Jason Jones.
Just over 12 minutes left in the first half. Utah State has opened up a 9-point lead over Villanova. 22-13 is the score there. Alabama had pulled away a little bit from Hofstra coming out of the break, but Hofstra's coming back, but now it's 8 points. 47-39 Alabama over Hofstra at this point. Iowa State just running away from Tennessee State. It's 65-37 there, and just barely tipped off Miami of Ohio with a 3-2 lead over Tennessee. With your KSL bracket update, I'm Jason Jones.
Follow NCAA tournament updates and all our sports updates on KSLSports.com.
Zions Bank helps entrepreneurs in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code ENJOY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code ENJOY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
As the #1 small business lender, Zions Bank helps entrepreneurs reach and exceed their goals. Visit your local branch or zionsbank.com/SBA. Equal housing lender.
It's time for March Window Mania. From Advanced Window Products, bounce on over to your phone and they'll give you $2,500 off your quote on 10 windows or more. Get the home court advantage. They'll build your windows right here in Salt Lake City, custom for Utah's climate, and you save because they sell direct to the public, no middleman. It's a new season. Spring is here, and when it comes to state-of-the-art custom windows and insulated frames, Advanced Windows is top seated, so put them at the top of your bracket and make the call 801-850-9100. You'll get $2,500 off from the family-owned champion since 1986. For 40 years, they've been building and installing replacement windows. Don't wait for the draft to come seeping through your old windows. They'll save you a ton of money on your energy bill, and Advanced offers financing as low as $150 a month. It's the March Window Mania special. Quick, before the buzzer, make the call 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or visit advancedwindows.com.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The war in Iran has created a lot of economic issues around the world, especially with things like gas and oil. But there's another thing that's being directly impacted, and it could mean lower food crop yields worldwide. The closure at the Strait of Hormuz having an effect on fertilizer. Michael Kofed is an assistant professor of economics at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and a research fellow at the Institute of Labor Economics. And he says the main ingredient in a lot of fertilizer comes from oil.
Fertilizer is actually a great thing that we don't think that much about unless you're running a farm. I grew up next to the alfalfa farms out in Syracuse, Utah, so I've kind of experienced that a little bit in my youth, but essentially, fertilizer comes from phosphate, which is a side product of oil production. And so the Middle East is one of our main sources for phosphate and fertilizer. And given the Straits of Hormuz now being kind of shut off because of the Iran war, just like oil and gas is going up, now fertilizer is going up. And you find some very similar effects because food is a major input for our economy. And so as food prices go up, that's going to cause some instability in a lot of different regions.
Kofed tells Inside Sources that soybeans aren't being as affected by the fertilizer shortage because soybean plants add a lot of nitrogen to the soil by themselves. But because of ongoing international trade wars, he says there's not a huge incentive for farmers to change over to planting soybeans. So with fertilizer shortage and rising costs, what could this mean for the everyday home gardener? Ton Bettis is a horticulturist at Utah State University and the co-host of the KSL Greenhouse Show, and he says Utahns will be impacted by shortages.
The box stores have a supply of fertilizer. I don't know if they have started raising prices on those. And so for right now, homeowners can go and get fertilizer, and it might be a wise thing to go get your 4-step package right now in case the shortages trickle down into the homeowner market. And so my advice for homeowners is just to go get your fertilizer. I know at some box stores you can actually still get clearance fertilizer for as little as $5 or $6 a bag. And so that's something you want to jump on now so that you don't have to worry about it later.
Yep.
And so as far as farmers, that's a different story. If they hadn't previously locked in contract prices, I've been noticing especially a fertilizer called urea, which is 46% nitrogen. Costs are up about 60%, and we're already seeing shortages.
Don, what is the difference between the fertilizer that farmers use and the fertilizer that home gardeners use?
Well, sometimes there's no difference at all, but, as a farmer, you're trying to use a fertilizer that will give you the most bang for your buck. And oftentimes, and what we're looking at is units of nitrogen. Per unit of nitrogen, urea is historically the least expensive because 1 pound of urea is 46% nitrogen, to where a homeowner fertilizer would be something like 20.00 as a source, or 22. And the reason we don't have homeowner fertilizers generally above 20 to 25% nitrogen is that it's really easy to over-apply if you don't know what you're doing. And so just out of caution, a lot of times homeowner fertilizers aren't as potent, I guess, or aren't as concentrated, because if you're using 46% nitrogen fertilizer, even a small over-application can cause problems.
You mentioned that the box stores are pretty much stocked up with their fertilizer right now, but if this continues for very long and there is a shortage, are there some other alternatives for folks?
Well, nothing that is going to, again, I'm going back to the cost per unit of nitrogen. There are several other sources, and I think maybe people will be using them more, but they're also expensive, because when you start getting away from fertilizer made from natural gas, which the urea is made from natural gas, and other petroleum-derived products, you're getting into the organic realm where they're using fish meal or blood meal or chicken feather meal. A lot of these organic sources are anywhere from 6 to 12% nitrogen. And so you may need to increase how much you use to get up to the recommendations for your lawn and garden, but they can be up to 3 times more expensive per unit than something like 20.00 or especially the 46.00.
And join Ton and me tomorrow morning for the KSL Greenhouse from 8 to 11. We'll be talking about getting your garden started and all the other things like putting down pre-emergent that you should be doing right now. Midday continues in 60 seconds.
You bought an RV, and you got an automatic discount from Progressive by bundling it with your home or auto insurance. That's great, but a serious word of warning every RVer should heed. You don't need to talk about things like dry weight or dump stations. And you don't need one of those expensive water filter straws either. Because the most extreme thing most RVers encounter is a campsite without hookups. So just enjoy yourself and Progressive's automatic discount when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
A dome of high pressure continues to sit over the western United States today, and even though there might be a bit of a cool down this weekend, the warm weather is expected to continue well into next week. We passed 80 degrees in Salt Lake City yesterday, making it the earliest we've ever hit the 80-degree mark. June weather in March, it can be beautiful, but also cause some intense problems. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson has a look at the records that we broke yesterday and the records we could break again today.
Our historic record-breaking heat wave continues. Yesterday's highs topped out at 90 degrees in Kanab. That broke a record, not only a daily record, but an all-time March high. Provo on BYU campus, 85. Also an all-time record high for them for the month of March. Cedar City, all-time high, 84. Logan, 78 degrees, breaking a record there. Salt Lake City hit 81. That also broke the old all-time record high of 80 degrees back on March 31st of 2012. St. George hit 93 degrees, breaking their all-time March high. That was 91 back in 2004. Folks, we will push the thermometer a little further today. Look for temperatures that will actually run a solid 1 to 3 degrees warmer than yesterday's all-time highs. We'll be breaking more records.
Right now in downtown Salt Lake City, it's 75 degrees. Utah is now in uncharted territory because our snowpack levels have peaked 3 weeks early this year, meaning winter is officially over. The snowpack peaked on March 9th, the earliest it's ever done so.
So our snowpack is not looking great. We peaked about 3 weeks early on March 9th at around 8.4 inches, and we typically peak around the beginning of April. So that's not looking great for our spring runoff when we usually have water flowing to our reservoirs. Weather forecasts suggest that any additional snow will be outpaced by the snow melt. So we're most likely going to melt more than any snow we'll get in the future. So yeah, it's kind of the end of winter right now, a little early.
Michael Sanchez with the Utah Division of Water Resources says the total was almost half of the usual snowpack. And even if we get a really big storm in the next few weeks, it won't ease the situation. In fact, Sanchez tells KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi, we've never seen anything like this before.
It's very eye-opening, especially paired with when we look back at 2023, we had that record-breaking year that was 30 inches statewide of snow water equivalent. So we're seeing really like feast and famine is what we're really seeing.
He says things like restrictions will be addressed by local water districts and says he's heard some rumblings that restrictions could come in the next few weeks or months. He says all water districts have been instructed to update their drought contingency plans. Besides just conserving water, Sanchez says there are a number of financial incentives for consumers as well.
Yeah, so how it happens is because we rebate smart controllers for irrigation, it really takes the guesswork out of when to actually water because it's based on weather. It reads weather reports. And also we have rebates for water efficient toilets. So how you would do that is you'd purchase either one of those and make sure they qualify. And then you'd submit your application to slowtheflow.org just from our rebate portal. Also, we do have our landscape incentive program, and those are not rebates. They're more incentives because what we're doing is we need to have a landscape walkthrough before actually rebating it. So when people are starting these projects, we definitely recommend people not to rip out their lawn before actually applying for the program. So that's a big thing, and those incentives can be found on slowtheflow.org as well.
Michael Sanchez is with Utah Division of Water Resources. It's Friday, so let's get a check-in on the cool stuff in Utah with the Arrow's John Smith. That's coming up next. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. Ricky?
Already seeing early onset slowdowns southbound I-15 from 53rd South through Sandy and a crash at Bangerter Highway and 200 West. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL Bracket Update every 15 minutes brought to you by the Stern Team Omada. Here's Jason Jones.
Two teams that felt disrespected by the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee are in action right now. One of them is Utah State, currently with a 31-27 lead over Villanova. Just under 7 minutes left in the first half there. They obviously felt they should be a higher seed. And Miami of Ohio is also in action against Tennessee. They felt they should easily have been in a tournament and not have been an 11 seed. But they are trailing Tennessee right now 16-13 in other action that's going on right now. Iowa State is taking it to Tennessee State. It is 82-47 in that game. And Alabama has opened up a little bit of a lead on Hofstra at this point. The score is 52-43, about 13 and a half minutes left there. With your KSL Bracket Update, I'm Jason Jones.
Follow NCAA tournament updates and all other sports updates on KSLSports.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877-CARS-4-KIDS to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
When you need a new water heater, you need it right now.
Yep, can't wait on that.
When you need a new furnace or a new air conditioner come the summertime, you need it right now. So Superior Water and Air has a wonderful program where they can help you with financing. If you need it, get it today and pay it off when you get your tax refund or just over time.
And that's one of the great things is they have multiple financing options. It's not just one, okay, you've got to do it this way. It's, you can wait till just after your tax refund. Well, what if you need no payments until later in the year?
Yeah.
They can work with you like that because, look, they want to help you get you back on your feet with the thing that doesn't work that you got to use.
Yeah.
And they'll just work with your situation. What a great way to do it.
I loved introducing you to my friends at Superior because they're just great people. And when you invite somebody into your home, you want to feel good about them.
Yeah, and they're so customer-centric. That was what really impressed me was they wanted to work with me and my family, whatever needs we might have.
Right. They want your home to be safe and clean. Superior Water and Air. Here's the number, 801-872-8483, or go to superiorwaterandair.com.
Buying a home or refinancing can be complicated. So who do you call? Who's trustworthy, has decades of experience, and can get you a loan done quickly? Who will work hard for you to find the great rate and reasonable closing costs? The answer is clear. Loans by Rick. Right now, Loans by Rick is giving a 30-year fixed rate at 5.5% and a 15-year fixed at just 4.625%.
He can't do that.
Oh, yes, he can. For over 25 years, Rick has helped people navigate the mortgage process and get the financing they need to buy a home or refinance. That even includes paying off debt with a cash-out refi. And because Loans by Rick works with over 80 bank and lending relationships, we shop multiple lenders to find you the very best deal. Whether you're buying a home or refinancing, call Loans by Rick at 801-809-SAVE. That's 801-809-SAVE, or visit loansbyrick.com. Rick Bob, NMLS 241179, Vintage Lending, NMLS 287106, Equal Housing Lender, 30-year APR, 5.78%, 15-year APR, 4.78%. Some restrictions apply.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. It's Friday and time for cool stuff in Utah with the Arrow's John Smith. So, John, what adventure did you want to share with us today?
I went to one of the places that, I'll be honest, it felt a lot cooler when I wasn't allowed to go there when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s.
Because the mystery is so much better. You know?
Right? Talking about the Gilgal Sculpture Garden, which is 7th East, 5th South in that area, kind of by Trolley Square, behind the Chuckarama, as you noted.
You kind of see it through the fence there.
Now, when we were kids, Maria Shilaos, this was private property.
Yes, it was.
And so if we wanted to see the sculptures and what we dubbed at the time creepy artwork, we had to trespass. We had to break the rules and go onto private property, some dude's backyard. But now that the original sculptor, a guy by the name of Thomas Child, he's since passed away. And his family has turned over the Gilgal Garden over to the city of Salt Lake, which has now opened it to the public. And it's managed by volunteers. It's actually kept really clean. And you can visit it anytime you want.
Okay, but you paid it a visit, and you've done one of your cool stuff and videos there.
Yes.
Cool stuff in Utah videos
we took our camera crew out there, and we wandered around, and we didn't get in any trouble, I promise. But it's fun to think about the history. So Thomas Child, he was a mason, he was a contractor, he was kind of an artist, but really he was a construction worker by trade. But he really loved telling stories from the Book of Mormon through his art, and that's where the sculpture garden takes place. So all of his sculptures relate back to the Book of Mormon. And whether or not you're a member of the LDS Church or not, it is fascinating to go in and look at his interpretation of these scriptures and how they relate to Utah culture and how they relate to Utah history. It's really fun to look at. He's been working on this. I should say he had been working on this since 1947, and it was private property up until the early 2000s.
Okay, I want to know about your favorite sculptures, though. You called them creepy. They're very unusual, different, unique. I'm going to give it that. I'm not so sure about creepy.
So when you're there in the middle of the night and you're trespassing and you're a teenager in the 90s,
creepy.
Yeah, it gets a little creepy. You know, you got a sphinx in there. You've got some giant hands and feet kind of floating around. But the dude with the brick pants, which I think is a self-portrait. I'm not entirely sure. But there's a 10-foot tall statue of a man, a bald man wearing glasses, and his pants are made out of bricks. And so it was a rite of passage if you were a punk rock skate kid back in the day to see the brick pants man, which he's still there. You can go in and see him now. You don't have to break in anymore.
All right.
But thank you to the city of Salt Lake and the Dolores Story Eccles Foundation for putting in a lot of money, as well as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for helping restore the gardens throughout the 2000s and making it available for everybody to go in and enjoy.
Actually making it a nice garden area.
So cool. It's a lot of fun.
So those people who aren't members of the church, is it still interesting for them?
Oh, absolutely. I went in with a bunch of our camera crew members and two of my friends who are from out of town. They were very curious about Utah culture and our strange idiosyncrasies here, like fry sauce and Jell-O salad and stuff like that. So we took them to Chuckarama, and then we went over to Gilgal Garden. It was a great day.
Awesome. Okay, so what fun stuff do we have coming up this weekend?
Really, this weekend, it's going to be a lot of just getting out and enjoying the parks.
So beautiful.
First day of
weather
spring,
is beautiful.
85 degrees. So just get on out and enjoy. If you do want to get out and do some stuff, the Mammoth are in town tonight, playing at the Delta Center against the Anaheim Ducks, my former favorite team until we got our own.
Oh, okay.
Which, if they win this game tonight, they have the best record in the Pacific Division. Just saying. And then the Delta Center crew turns the ice over to the basketball court. They'll be playing the 76ers tomorrow and the Toronto Raptors on Monday.
Sounds like a great weekend to go to Gilgal Gardens.
Right? Perfect weather.
So for those folks who want to see your video, where do they find your videos?
You can find us on YouTube. Just look for Cool Stuff in Utah. We're on the 103.5 Arrow app or on the Arrow's Facebook page. We're also on the KSL.com app. KSL. Just Google cool stuff in Utah. You'll find all the places.
And that is the Arrow's John Smith. He joins us every Friday afternoon. You can also find his cool stuff in Utah videos on YouTube. So Jeff Kaplan is here preparing for Jeff Kaplan's afternoon news. What are you doing this weekend?
Well, tonight I'm going to the state gymnastics championship at the Salt Palace for 9-year-olds. My granddaughter.
I was like, what?
Yeah, it
it's
didn't
actually
sound like
tomorrow.
No, believe me, it's tonight, or I'm going to be alone there. Go Ava, and I want to jump on my new e-bike. That's what I want to get to.
You have a new e-bike?
Yeah, it has like carbon fiber instead of a chain and all that. It's really cool.
Okay.
I got to ride today. It did only about 8-9 miles. And
only?
It's an e-bike. It's not like I'm working that hard. And it was wonderful.
Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing about your weekend. I'm going to go work in my yard. I am.
Okay,
after
so
the
you're gonna get
greenhouse
out.
show.
Good.
You got it. All right, Jeff Kaplan's afternoon news is next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. Picture perfect 75 degrees in Salt Lake City, KSL's top story. Turns out Coach Witt did not want to retire. Documents obtained by KSL show that Kyle Whittingham actually wanted to stay on the sidelines at the U. KSL News Radio's Reagan Edelman has details.
According to these documents, Coach Witt told the U he intended to stay for 2 more years at the beginning of December.